Not live on your end. Stream Elements just popped up. Then was I not live the past? Oh, that's weird. Okay. You couldn't see me? I was here the whole time. It hit live like 10 minutes ago. Wait a minute. Can you guys hear me? Like, the current time right now is 5:56. Are you guys hearing that right now, or is you guys like 10 minutes? Okay, cool. Okay, so it's live. It's just, oh my gosh. What was that? Okay. We're live. We're live where we're supposed to be. It just didn't go live until I hit the button 10 minutes later, or 10 minutes after I hit the button. Well, good evening, good morning. Emotionally devastated? Well, sucks to suck. Camo, you want to make sure your team in overtime kicks the football. You want to have the football second, not first. I genuinely cannot believe that the 49ers did not know the playoff overtime rules were different. Every schmuck sitting on their couch knew that before overtime even happened. I'm genuinely confused. Well, even if you're from the UK, you can still watch the Super Bowl. Stay up Super Bowl. I watched the World Cup, even though I didn't. Yes, Brush. Yeah, but they even told you. They even said to the refs. Jim Nance reminded you, and Tony Romo reminded you that the game doesn't end at the end of the overtime timer. Also, I didn't realize this as I was watching the halftime show. But when it was concluded, I came to this realization of like, oh, wait a minute. All these songs Usher is playing or singing are songs that they were playing at my middle school dance. That made me feel like, oh, it's been a long time. I didn't realize Usher was it. Brush, do you even know who Ludacris is? Like, before last night, did you know who Ludacris is or listen to any of Ludacris's music? Could you name one Ludacris song? Absolutely not. I'm so caught up with the feeling it. Oh, that sticker doesn't really work there, does it? Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Popcast. Whenever you're listening to this, whether it be live or VOD, Twitch or YouTube, or Spotify, while you are looking up the NFL overtime rules for the playoffs, diminishing the accomplishments of anyone who gets 3,000 points in North American X Rank, questioning the Plus server voting results like they actually mean anything. Whatever it is that you're doing right now, appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to this. Unless I don't. I was not doing an episode last week. I took last week off, not because I was sick. That was a fair assumption to make. I have been sick a lot because my lovely son goes to daycare and picks up whatever snot-nosed germs those kids pass around and then will sneeze it on me. And then it's just been 2 months of misery. But this is the best I've felt consistently, which makes me very suspicious for a while. And I was feeling good last week. I just didn't have time with the dad obligations that come with raising a small child. So that's going to be the case going forward. I'd like to do every single Monday an episode of this thing. There's always stuff to talk about. There's a lot of things going on in this community. But I don't always have time to do it on top of all the other things that I, like to do / need to do, IRL stuff. So yeah, that's why there wasn't an episode last week. And it sucks because last week I would have talked about the charity tournament that was run by Hollow that raised over $6,000 for I believe the name of the official organization the money went to is Palestine Children's Relief Fund. I think the tournament was named like Squid Kids for Palestine. But it raised over $6,000 for that, and 120 teams ended up participating in that event. So that deserves some shout out, and that deserves about 7,000. Yeah, it was over 6K. It deserves more recognition than just that little plug right there. So I did want to at least acknowledge it, even though I didn't do an episode on it yesterday or last week. Melon got 5,000 points in the Japan division of Splat Zone's X rank. That is just absurd. 5,000 freaking points is just absolutely absurd. Keep it in context, though, from the mindset that the score system has changed this season, and Melon has just been abusing the absolute snot out of it. And that's like Melon is once again, last I checked, I don't know if Melon has played today. I checked this morning. They were almost 1,000 points above the person that was in second place, who somehow has 4,000 points. It's just absolutely absurd. But keep this in mind. Obviously, the new X rank system is broken. Like, you shouldn't be allowed to get that far ahead unless Melon is literally playing every Splat Zone rotation imaginable, like wakes up in the middle of the night because there's a Splat Zones rotation and plays it. But at some point, Melon is going to lose, and when Melon loses, because they have no choice but to play in lower lobbies, they're going to lose like 400 or 500 points in one segment, to which everyone's going to point to and laugh because it is kind of hilarious that that's a thing that can happen. But also keep in mind that is mathematically how that is supposed to happen. Like, if you guys make a tweet that says, this is why X rank is so broken, which happened the last time Melon lost all those points, like, no, that mathematically it makes sense. And I saw somebody say something like, this is why I don't play X rank anymore. It's because the score is so broken. You shouldn't be allowed to lose 400 points in one single best of 5 set. It's like, bless your heart, you're never going to be in a situation to where you're the number one player by 1,000 points. This doesn't apply to you. It doesn't work like that at all. But just keep that in mind. That is still an amazing accomplishment. And that doesn't diminish the fact that if you got 3,000 in North America, that doesn't mean you're a crappy player like some people are trying to make it out to be. Statistically, those 3,000 hold as much weight as what it did the previous season. I think the answer is no. But still, like, you're allowed to pat yourself on the back when you do cool things. So getting 3,000 even in the new system is still cool. Who cares? News of tournaments that may be of interest to the casual listener of the Popcast. Genesis is going on this weekend, but just because there is a LAN tournament in San Jose, California, doesn't mean the online world has to come to a complete stop. In the past, there have been people complaining, why are they running online tournaments? Everyone should be paying attention to a LAN. No, that's dumb. Like, the thousands upon thousands of players that play the game competitively that don't want to pay a bunch of money to fly to California should still be allowed to play the video game over the course of the weekend. So here are some events that are going on. First off, Mode Cup is taking place on Saturday. That's going to be a 2 p.m. Eastern time start. It's going to be Splat Zones edition. I believe Mode Cup ran during Riptide as well to good success. There's also this Wednesday, that's Valentine's Day, isn't it? Yes, Wednesday the 14th. There is a Love Cup Duo, a 2v2 tournament. And I don't know what time that officially starts, but there is a 2v2 tournament on Valentine's Day. There's nothing more romantic than playing a competitive game with your lover. Nothing really brings that bond together than losing with each other in moments like that. There's been does Duel Inc. still run? The 2v2 tournament that ran every Sunday. Is that still a thing? Because 2v2 tournaments have been a thing for this community for a long, long time. My question is, though, has there ever been a 1v1 tournament? I feel like there has to have been, and it must have been so crazy unpopular that no one has tried it again. But you would think a 1v1 tournament would be a thing that would interest people. Now, I don't know how you would do the rules for a 1v1 tournament if it is just like tower control, or I would assume like tower control would just be the main mode that you want to use, but maybe there's ways to like break it in a 1v1 thing. But that's just something that kind of crossed my mind, is like, has anyone tried 1v1 Splatoon before? And if not, which one of you is going to be the first one that should do it? Today we're going to be recapping, or I should say we are going to be previewing Genesis 10, Genesis X, if you want to be cool like that. You know, Mega Man X is not the 10th Mega Man game. It's just the cool little thing for that Roman numeral thing there. We are going to be previewing that. I have information on 30 teams that signed up for Genesis, and we're going to be talking about every single one of them. Normally, I would talk about Little Squid League last in this segment, but I don't know how long this Genesis thing is going to go, so I'm just going to save it on the back end so that we can barrel through 30 different teams to talk about. I'm also going to tell you who's going to win, so you don't even have to watch this event coming up. I don't know who's coming. Have they released the commentators for this event? I know they were like, hey, we really need you guys to sign up for commentary. So I don't know how many people have signed up for it or not, but they haven't released the things. I know they released like the Melee commentators, but they haven't released the Splatoon ones yet. Okay. Put Brush in grand finals, you cowards. Do it. You won't regret it. So we're going to talk about Genesis coming up, all that and more. But first, we're going to take a look at Little Squid League number 37, along with a bunch of other tournaments that took place this past weekend. But Little Squid League, which has been kind enough to give me a hat at the last LAN I was at, Low Tide City, is running yet again another ladder tournament. And we're going to run through it as quickly as we possibly can. First off, I like the fact that Little Squid League is doing ladder events. I wish that I feel like I said this last time, but I feel like I wish that I was eligible for Little Squid League now that they're doing a ladder thing because just playing in ladder events is fun. TOing ladder events can be pretty fun in some aspects as well. You don't have to worry about starting the round if you're wanting to do Swiss stuff and like, oh, everyone's got to finish before I start a round. No, the players start their own rounds whenever they feel like it. Teams don't have to check in. You can just sign up, and if you don't want to play, it's just like, okay, well, then just don't queue up for any matches. And if you change your mind an hour later, you can queue up for matches again. Like you could start the tournament an hour late and still probably squeeze in the five. I believe it's the 5 match minimum to qualify for one of these secondary brackets here. No seeding that has to take place in it. Not that we do seeding for low ink anyways. And I found out yesterday we don't have to do seeding for proving grounds anymore either, which is really awesome. Uh, you still have to like manually enter teams in low ink, all 190 some odd of them, and it's very frustrating and time consuming. You don't have to do that with ladder. You can just I think you still have to like insert them somewhere, but I don't think you have to actually like seed them roughly like that. So TOing this thing from a preview from like a uh setup kind of format is pretty freaking easy to do. It's only awkward when tiebreakers come into play for ladder. And well, I guess we'll take a look at a couple of the ladder stuff real quick before we move on here. Is this the right button? It is. Let's hit this. Boom. So the top 16 team moves on to gold bracket, which means you got this awkward spot right here of Rewind and Kiwi Ice Cream. Both, how do you determine that this team should move in over the other one? And then this that awkward thing where the Ripways, we're 5-1. But if we play one more game and we lose it, we might fall down here like hypothermia and we're all the way down out of the bracket. Let's just not play an extra game and just sit right here, and then you get to move on. Now, you go 5-1, and hypothermia didn't start off 5-1. I think they were 4-2, and then they had to play an extra one to get to that fifth win. And I'm not like accusing Whiprays of holding out or anything, but that's the strategy if you want to move on. Like these top 16 teams, it's all like strategy and mind games. Do I queue up again? Are we safe if we stick where we are? It's a little bit of a tricky thing. But for the rest of these teams, a little bit down the line, like this is good. Like, oh, we can just keep playing. We can get as many matches in. We can find new teams. We can build scrim partners. We can get better in the future. And the teams at the very bottom, they're like, man, we're just getting our butt kicked. This isn't fun. Let's just stop playing. Like it works out the best for everyone. It's not ideal for the teams at the top because there's a lot of strategy that goes into play. But for like everyone across the board, it seems like it's beneficial for a lot of teams, which the point of low level tournaments is to be as beneficial to everyone, not just the teams that are threatening to win it. And ultimately, tiebreakers meant absolutely nothing in this tournament because 69 Soupy just beat the dog crap out of everyone, beat the absolute snot out of all of these teams. At the end of this tournament, every single team that signed up for this one was completely snotless, because 69 Soupy beat it all out of them. They could breathe through their nose clearly. Another reason why I wish I could have signed up for this tournament, because I wish someone beat the snot out of me. Silver bracket real quick, because if you weren't in the top 16, the next 16 did find their way into this bracket. And this is going to be from here on out. The team that finishes number 17 in the bracket stage of Little Squid League is always going to be right here in this silver bracket, and we're all going to be looking at them like, okay, if you win this bracket, you get to go on Twitter and be like, stupid tiebreaker rules, I would have won gold bracket too if it wasn't for the fact that that other team didn't play and we did, or something like that. So Kiwi Ice Cream, unfortunately though, gets third place out of this one, which was nice, but they don't get to complain about tiebreaker rules because they couldn't overcome the mighty land crabs right here. Now, I don't want to spend too much amount of time in silver bracket, but I saw a player as I was looking at this land crab team. A name jumped back to me. The Ratatouille scene where the guy eats the soup and he goes back in time and he's like, oh, this reminds me of when I was a kid. I saw this name and I haven't seen this in many years, I feel like. Jennifer, which made me really go back and think. I know that player where I feel like they used NZAP in Splatoon 2, and I looked it up, and they actually were on a team I had long forgot about. Good old Enigma. That is a name I used to talk about a long time ago, like 150 episodes Popcast ago. I used to talk about this team Enigma because they would play in low ink all the time. That Cassie, the Charger player, Jamie was a part of that team at one point. Just crazy. That might not, Jennifer playing in this tournament might not mean anything to anybody else, but it was just the name that jumped out to me. It's like, I remember that. I remember that. They win silver bracket over a team called Hypothermia. Which it's been actually anything but cold outside for the past couple of weeks. So maybe that's why they fell down the silver bracket. The Groundhog did not see a shadow. Gold brackets. Another kind of tricky thing with ladder is getting a stream up and going during the ladder segment. In low ink or ladder ink in November, we were able to stream the ladder stage. That's because we have a lot of we have our own Q branch basically at IPL. We have a bunch of literal wizards that work in our technical department that made these bots that tell us when all these ladder matches in our tournaments happen and who's playing who, and we can catch those and be like, hey, we got a match ready to put on stream. You guys are going to be the ones that's going to go on. We're going to put you on stream. It's difficult without our bots. It's kind of difficult to do that. But I mean, the matches you want to see are in gold bracket anyway. So finding those matches or starting the stream when those matches start is easy for me when I want to go back and look at this tournament. The unfortunate part is that the first match they put on stream was the whip raise. Fan favorite whip raise. Everybody loves the whip raise. Raise your hand if you do not like the whip raise, and one of our mods will mute you or something. The problem is this lovable whip raise team went up against a team called Depression and Anxiety, and Depression and Anxiety beat the whip raise. They came back on the whip raise at Tower Control Art Academy. What an absolute worst way to kick off a stream than to have the whip raise lose to a team called Depression and Anxiety. Good job for Depression and Anxiety, because the whip raise won the first game and they had to come back in game 2 and have a huge comeback in game 3 in order to win the set. So fantastic for them. But for society as a whole, this matchup is just a black eye that we all have to go through. It's just so sad that this is a result we have to deal with. Congratulations to Depression and Anxiety, though, for getting that win. For the rest of the matches that it went on here, something I was watching the stream back today and didn't realize that there was something that happened in this Distortion Insecure Connection set. The announcers at the start of this one said that there was a team that got disqualified for illegal player. I'm not going to speculate what that is. I'm just going to mention that as context, because Insecure Connection and Distortion actually played each other in the previous Little Squid League, where Distortion beat them 2-0. So when I saw this matchup again, I was like, Insecure Connection got revenge on Distortion. Distortion's the team that eliminated them last month, and now they're the ones that overcame them, and they got this little rivalry going on. And it turns out, no, there was something else behind the scenes. So that also explains why Alley Cats here was able to get the 3-0 over Distortion. For Alley Cats, real quick, the team technically finishing in bronze medal had to overcome on stream as well against a team called Red Velvet Sea, who in game 3, Tower Control Hagglefish decided to bring out Gluga, Nautilus, and Squiffer, which is why I absolutely love watching Little Squid League. Does that comp together make any sense whatsoever? Absolutely not. Does it matter in a context where everything is underneath a certain skill cap and it's just the best players that win, not know so much the best the comp that wins? No, it doesn't matter at all. It's just good, clean fun. The Alley Cats, though, was able to say, "Nah, we're just gonna beat that comp of yours, that silly comp of yours." Before 69 Supe absolutely crushed them like they did everybody else. For Insecure Connection, they finished in top 8 last month, like I mentioned. They did play Low Inc., but they dropped after round 4, I want to say, so we didn't get to see them play all the way through. But still, this is a good bounce back from top 8 to top 2. And they actually started off this set against 69 Supe winning the first game, which is huge for them because that was the first L 69 Supe had taken all day long to start off the set as the heavy underdog and get that first win and give your opponent that first L just to get that out of the way, just to prove that you are not immortal and that we can beat you and you got to take us seriously. The problem is 69 Supe said, okay, we're just going to beat you 3 games in a row in this tournament. Yeesh. So 69 Supe winning this tournament is not a surprise. They finished 3rd place the month prior in Little Squid League. They took the winner Melon Float to a game 5 in the semifinals before they ultimately lost on Rainmaker Hagglefish. So it doesn't surprise me that a team getting this much improvement over the course of a month. I mean, it surprises me that they curb stomped everybody along the way. These are not chumps that they're going up against. These are strong Little Squid League teams. But they were just that much better than everybody else. I am disappointed in 69 Supe, though, because last month they used Respawn Punisher Hydra, which is a risky thing to do in this cooler meta that we're in right now. And just Hydra in general is just not, it's difficult. It's really tough to use in this meta. The whip raise versus depression and anxiety kind of highlighted that. Oh my gosh, a Hydra versus a pencil is difficult to overcome. And that doesn't even include like all the Zukas that are being blasted your way nonstop. I don't think that was a factor in the whip ray depression set. But it's just something like, wow, okay, on paper, Hydra just loses to a lot of these other things. But 69 Supe did not use Respawn Punisher or Hydra, at least when they were on stream. Instead, they were using Nautilus pretty much the entire time. Maybe that's why they won this tournament and why they didn't win it last time. But just from a Hydra main myself, I would have loved to see a Hydra win it. Maybe not Respawn Punisher, but so be it. We all have to change things if we want to win at some point, and that's the sacrifice 69 Supe had to make. So what's next for them? They're going to be good. 69 Supe is going to be really good. If they play the next Low Inc., I don't even know if they've signed up or not. Low Inc. is still 2 weeks away, so there's still time. But I think these guys are going to come into Low Inc. and make top 32 the next month. So, some other teams like Zest Fest took them a while to get to that point. But for 69 Supe, I think these guys are going to pick up right where they left off. They look really, really good. And I think they're going to continue that flexing into Low Inc. I'm not calling them the next Octopi by any stretch of the imagination. But it's an Octopi-esque start that they've had coming off of this tournament. There was a highlighted message, Duel Inc. is still running. Maybe I should add that. It's been a while since I paid attention to Duel Inc. I know I commentated one of them like 2 years ago. I know Leafy and .q won every single one of them. Was there a prize for that event? I think there was. Like a $20 gift card to Subway or something like that. But questions for another time. The question right now is, are you ready for the weekly recap? Paddling pool number 250 freaking 2 was played last Wednesday. It was won by Futella. Hazard took second place in New Generation, rounds out your top 3. Paddling pool is one of the 3 major mainline tournaments, I guess, that has moved off of Battlefy or Challenge or whatever and onto the Sindow website, which makes it so freaking easy for me to just look up who won and who is on the actual rosters of the team that's won, which is why I'm going to start talking about Paddling Pool and Triton Cup going forward. I'll say this once again. Who won Paddling Pool number 200? You will do some digging. You'll find it's just a team with a smiley face emote. Who's on the roster for that team? You'll never know because it's on Challenge. But now we get to find everything easily. I'm super excited for people that play in Paddling Pool and the TOs for that. Triton Cup number 71, keeping the Dapple production train rolling, took place last Friday. It was won by Frutella yet again. Korean Zenith finished in second place, and ASC Tenchi rounds out your top three. That was a 32-team double elimination tournament that is flat zones only yet again. Also mentioning that it is part of the Sindow Q.Inc. circuit of tournaments. On the North American side of things, SOS number 137 took place on Wednesday. It was won by Slay Queen. Igor finished in second place, and Project Rat rounds out your top three there. Not on Sindow.Inc. Instead, SOS number 137 is still on Start.gg, and the TOs have announced that it's going to stay on Start.gg going forward. It is released off of Battlefy. And to Start.gg's credit, they have improved their services a lot. I've dogged on them a lot over the years of the podcast here because they've been bad for Splatoon events, but they've gotten a lot better. And I think we've got like a contact for like, hey, can we add some stuff here from the website? And that's made things a little bit better for SOS's then. Hammerhead was won by Star Squids. Makeup Bracket was won by UCF Splatoon. And Lantern Bracket was won by Sonic Adventure DX Adventure Cut. It doesn't matter now what happens, I will never give up the fight. Saturday in the zone number 32 was won by Jackpot, who got a win over Starburst that takes second place, and Atomic Bomb gets the bronze medal in this super insanely stacked tournament that has no prize pool other than simply getting more Sindow Q points to help qualify for the finals down the road. Jackpot getting revenge on Starburst, the team that won the Sindow Q finals last season, knocking off Jackpot twice in that series finale. Jackpot got 2 wins against Starburst this time around in what is going to be the premier rivalry in the entire competitive Splatoon scene going forward. Would like to see F2 Quinn thrown into the mix there as well. Proving Grounds number 29 was played yesterday. It was won by Gru. Second place went to Caden is Alistor, and Gang is the team that finished in third place. Proving Grounds switched off of Battlefy and became the first IPL tournament to take place on Sindow.Inc. and will not be the last. Oh my goodness. Sindow.Inc. is amazing. We don't have to do anything. We don't even have to, you still have to check in, but we don't have to like wait for you to check in or not. We don't have to do that. You could literally sign up. Stormy signed up with a team like 5 minutes before the tournament actually started, was able to do it, able to check in, and we were able to see them instantly. Like, that's just amazing. Like, this is the future coming alive in the present, and there's no seeding revolve. The Sindow Q tournaments are now seeded based off of your Sindow Q points. So you sign up, we just hit a button that says seed the teams, and it automatically seeds them all based off of what your points are. So if you didn't like your seed in Proving Ground, it's your own fault, sucker. Play some more video games there. In the NFL, the big game, the Chiefs beat the 49ers in overtime, almost went to a second overtime, 25-22. The Chiefs are the first back-to-back champions since the New England Patriots did it in 2004 and 2005. Travis Kelce and Andy Reid confirmed they are coming back next season to try to make it a three-peat. And that was your weekly recap that I didn't change on the arrow here. Sponsored by My Lag Paradise. who last week announced that they had officially disbanded after being a team for, I want to say, at least 3, if not more, years of being a team. My Lag Paradise is a team that has been mentioned many times here on the Popcast, and while they never won Low Inc., they came close a couple of times, and eventually they did find a way to get banned from Low Inc., rightfully deserved, but they are breaking apart and going their separate ways. It's something new might rise from the ashes of My Lag Paradise, but did want to give them a little bit of a shout out because they've been a personal favorite team of mine for a long time here on the Popcast. Just remember, it's not your, it's My Lag Paradise, the official sponsor of this week's segment of the Weekly Recap. Thank you, My Lag Paradise, for everything you've done. Can you explain American football stuff in European terms? It's not like Clam Blitz. People who say Clam Blitz is like American football, no, it's not. The Clam Blitz is like a snowball fight. You're just gathering up all the snow to make a giant snowball and throw it at your enemy's fort. That's not at all what football is. Football is, I don't really know how to explain it. It's just people beating up each other until somebody says, yeah, those guys won. A big complaint I've heard from Europeans about American football is that with soccer, as I like to call it, the action is nonstop. It's just 45 minutes of nonstop action. You don't have to cut away to commercials. Whereas American football, there's a play and then there's like 40 seconds of nothing happening. And then there's another 10-second play with another 40 seconds of nothing happening. So I completely get that. That aspect. When I first heard that analogy, I was like, okay, that makes a little bit of sense. But there's at least something exciting happening other than people just kicking a ball back and forth. People are hurting each other. That's what America is all about. Rugby, but slower. Yeah, rugby with even less action in between the time. As I've said many times here on the podcast, and especially the last episode that I did, Splatoon Twitter just straight up sucks. But the good news is, as we're now switching the conversation over to Genesis 10, the LAN that's been going on in San Jose this weekend, Splatoon Twitter's not going to be there. There's not going to be people trying to ratio each other. There's not going to be people that are trying to get clout over somebody else by whatever. There's not going to be people telling you not to have sex with people that main certain weapons. There's just going to be actual human beings that just hang out with each other and play the video game. As I've always said with events like this, the Splatoon is the side event. The main event here is that this is just a giant get-together for the Splatoon community. It's more of like a convention than a tournament. Yeah, the tournament's there, but the real value you're going to get about this is meeting people who have similar interests with you. Mingle with as many people as you can, and just so happen, yeah, you can also play the video game without any lag, by the way. If you've never played Splatoon in LAN mode, which 99.999% of people that own a copy of Splatoon 3 have never done, I promise you it's a completely different video game. It's so weird when everything works the way it's supposed to work. And that's what's really cool about LAN. Oh, and by the way, it's also cool to see people disconnect during LANs because, yes, that can happen. It's more of an equipment issue than a connection. Well, it is a connection issue, but it has to do with the faulty equipment with things like that. Yeah, oh boy. If this is your first time going to a LAN, or you need a little bit of a refresher, we'll do a quick refresher of what you should expect from the LAN experience and how, if you're actually trying to win this tournament, here's what you need to do to make sure that you are putting yourself in the best position physically and mentally to actually win this tournament. First off, expect delays. Delays are not potentially going to happen. Delays are 100% going to happen. This is you feel free to clip this because this is the exact image you're going to see. You're going to walk in there on Saturday for your 12 a.m. pool where the 10 a.m. pool had just started. You're going to walk in there 12 a.m. ready to play, and you're going to see everyone still playing like a set, and they got a round to do afterwards. You're going to see this. Magic is going to stand up on his chair behind the table, and he's not going to have a megaphone because they don't give him one of those, so he's just going to have to scream as loud as he can. I need everyone's attention. The tournament for wave 2, the 12 o'clock pool, is going to be delayed by at least 40 minutes. We got a little bit of a hiccup with something, so just give us some more time. Please be patient. That is 100% going to happen. I promise you. Why? Because every LAN in Splatoon history has had delays. It's funny because even if you do a stress test, which is you build up all those stations and you run through and you like test every single one of them with 8 different people and everything works. Even if you do that the day before, you come in the next day and there's just one thing that decides it's not going to work. One random cable that's connecting this to that, or one audio thing or whatever. Just one thing is going to decide it's just checking out for the day. And they have to check every single thing to make sure what that one thing is, and it's going to take a long time for them to do that because there's no practical way to do this. Splatoon setups are crazy to do at LANs, and it dawned on me. I think it was when I had DRF back on the episode of the Popcast. If you go to your college esports department or whatever, and you say, I want to do a Fortnite team. Well, cool. We got a computer lab over here ready to go. Just go set up. You're ready to do it. Okay, I want to go and I want to do a Splatoon team. Okay, cool. What do you need? Well, I need 8 monitors. I need like all these headset connection things. I need like all these LAN adapters. I need docks. You need a lot of crap just to do things on a Splatoon LAN, and it is very inconvenient for a lot of things. So delays are going to happen. Just be mentally prepared for that. Next thing, warm up. Do not play a set cold. Do not go into a set cold. That was a mistake I made with my team at Low Tide City. We just dropped into a set. We just watched our opponent, thought we were ready to play. No, it was the time I should have used during that downtime was not going to a station and play, because you're probably not going to have a station to warm up, but just take your team, go to a corner somewhere, just open up your Switch on tabletop mode and just go into the training room and just shoot some dummies. Like, just play the game something. You don't try to connect into a solo queue match or anything like that, but just do something to warm up before you play a set. I promise you it'll make a difference, and if you don't do it, I promise you are going to suffer. You're going to be behind the 8 ball. So find some quiet place somewhere in the venue to warm up with your teammates. It just has to be going to a training room, something to get yourself ready to play. Yes, air sign, I am going to tell people to eat salads. Eat some greens of some sort. Why do I say that? Because you're so many times where you're stuck in one place and you're like, I'm hungry, but we play in like an hour and maybe we have to be longer. I don't know if I can leave to go get food or if I should stay here. And you're just going to have to go to a concession stand somewhere and get a $40 pizza or a $10 burger or something like that. And that's all you're going to have to eat. That stuff will sit in you, and that stuff will affect your performance. It 100% affects your gaming performance. This is a little bit of a physical competition that you're going to here. Yes, you're just sitting down holding a controller. It's not the most labor-intensive thing, but at an online tournament, it lasts about 3, 4, maybe 5 hours if it's a weekend tournament. This tournament is going to last the entire weekend. You need to pace yourself. You need to make sure you're getting some good food in you so you're not just sitting there feeling sluggish and weighed down. If you're not going to have time to eat a salad during the tournament. But I'll tell you this, that Friday that you're coming in, do not eat a burger or pizza on that day. Like, oh, I'm going to go try like In-N-Out or something like that. Okay, you do that on Friday, but not realize that on Saturday you're going to have to eat a burger as well. And then that just kind of steamrolls, and eventually Championship Sunday, you're just going to be you're just going to feel so bloated and out of shape. Good nutrition if you want to win this tournament. Most importantly, talk to people. This is a social event. There are, if you feel awkward approaching people, here's a really good thing about Splatoon. And this is something that Aaron, the person who runs all of Riptide and all of Low Tide City, pointed out, is that the Splatoon community has these little posters that you can purchase and everyone signs them. It's like the little yearbook thing. So if you're going to Genesis and you don't feel comfortable approaching people, buy a poster when those things go on sale. That's an instant way to start talking to people, because you go to someone and say like, hey, Prochara, will you sign this poster? And Prochara is not going to punch you in the face and call you a noob and get out of my face. Prochara is going to sign your poster. And then you can start like a little mini brief conversation, and you can do that with literally everyone there, and eventually that's how you start connecting with people and making friends and building connections, and all of a sudden it's not just some random dude on Twitter that you don't know. It's a human being that you're having an actual connection with, and you start to realize, aha, this is what the Splatoon community is, not all the jackarassery that we see on Twitter. So get the poster and sign it. Now, I will say this. A lot of you really suck at presenting yourselves. If you get the badge, well, everyone's got the badge. Write your name on the badge so that people know who you are. Or get yourself like a own little sticky name tag, or like a shirt that's got your name on the back or something, because everyone's wearing a mask. This is sometimes for a lot of you people, this is your first time like exposing your face to the world. Nobody knows who you are. I know a lot of you by name. I don't know a lot of you by face, but there are going to be some people there that are going to be recognizable, and you're going to approach them and be like, oh, Brush, hey, it's so nice to meet you. And Brush is going to be like, who are you? Like, the sooner you can present your name to the person you're introducing yourselves to, the better. And soon that person will have like a connection in their head, like, oh, that's who you are, cool, and they'll have something to talk about. Let people know who you are is kind of an important thing. One other note I will make: the poster signing thing. Do that. Do not go up to somebody during their set or right after their set. And if they lose a set, definitely don't go up right to them immediately and be like, hey, will you sign my poster? Like, give these people some space here. Like, give some people some time to kind of get over things. It's not like we have like celebrities in the Splatoon community, like the situation where HBox will always talk about, oh, I just lost on top 8, then I walk off stage and someone immediately puts something in my face. Like, that's not what's going on here in the Splatoon community. They're like nobody's that crazy popular, but still, like, don't approach people as they're playing or just getting off from a set with the poster thing. Like, wait for them to just be like waiting for their next station to go on, or they're just kind of sitting around. Like find a fine time to approach people. Don't try to bombard everyone as they're trying to play the tournament. That can get a little bit frustrating at times. Now, I know what some of you introverts are saying, and by some, I mean literally everyone in the Splatoon community. But Pop Gun, I don't know who is going to this event. Well, you've come to the right place. We are about to break down for you all 30 frickin' teams that have signed up and are going to be playing in this event. As I pull up the start.gg list, we're looking at teams. We are looking at Splatoon 3 specific events. So we're gonna hit this button here. Okay. Now, this is the list of all the teams. I am not going to click on these teams and pull off the full rosters here, because some of you have your first and last name out here, and I'm not trying to dox you. Now, I know I would assume some people are like, yeah, I don't really care if people know my first and last name. That's fine, but I'm pretty sure some of you aren't aware that your first and that last name is on display for everyone to see if you look up certain rosters. That's the issue that we're getting at right here. And I don't want to like have any, I mean, again, anyone can look this up, but I don't want to just like do it here on the show. So we're just going to look at team by team here with the mouse. And even more importantly, this is in the same order it was this morning, so I can just follow my list accurately here. The first team we're going to look at are the great... I don't think I can zoom in anymore here, but whatever. It's a podcast. The Great Apes are the first team here. This is going to be consisting of Delta Jordan. Is this Shin X? Like this is Shin X, but is that like the one from Arctic Moon? Shin X that has the has one of the Nintendo jerseys. I didn't think so, but I would assume there's not many people called Shin X that are play in the Splatoon community. Also, Daffernap is a part of this team as well. The Grape Apes have been playing in SOS to warm up for this event, and also a lot of these guys, especially Delta Jordan and Daffernap, have been playing in a lot of LAN events in general, so they're very experienced with this thing. The Great Apes are going to be looking pretty good. But we have an actual team here. It's really freaking difficult to get real teams playing in LAN tournaments. But Secret Elixir is able to do that, and I'm not showing their full roster here, but this is they do have like all actual Secret Elixir players playing for their team. And this is awesome. Secret Elixir, if you aren't familiar, is a team that finished in low ink twice and didn't win it, but still went on. I believe they got Div 3 and have continued to improve since then. Glitch Cactus, I believe, announced on his Twitter yesterday that he is now a part of this team. Not here, but Glitch Cactus, I believe, is playing in this tournament with somewhere else down the Rhine. Now, I got two categories of teams. I got three. I got the contenders to win this tournament. I got the annoying teams, and you got the teams that are like there to have a good time. Secret Elixir, I am not going to announce as a contender to win this one just because of the other teams that are here, but I will put them in they're going to be an annoying team to get rid of category. They're not going to be a team that you're going to be like, oh, I got to play these guys in groups, or I just want to make top 16 or whatever. I got to play Secret Elixir right now. This is going to be a tough team to go up against because they're an actual team and not a pickup. Buff Inkling played in this one, and there's a lot of teams that I just don't know anything about, but you can still look up. There's a lot of people that are played in multiple events. So Buff Inkling, I looked up, their captain is actually also playing in Street Fighter 6, which I didn't realize was a part of Genesis at all. So that is that's going to be a tough thing to deal with if you got to deal with like I don't know what the meta for Street Fighter 6 is, but that's something to keep in mind. And with the Buff Inklings is their captain's not around. They're probably off playing Street Fighter. Signed and sealed with this cute little laughing seal team here. This is a team that's made up of some competitive players. The captain here, Soap, is representing the IVC Diamond Rays, which is one of the teams that made top cut in gold bracket of Little Squid League, the tournament we just looked at, and has come from the SoCal tournament. If you've been familiar with the SoCal tournament, local, I guess you should say, there's a lot of people that have played in that event that are going to be playing in this one. So Signed and Sealed has one of those players on their roster. The Thronglers have this team player as their captain. It's a little bit too small, but their team name, the captain's name is E4, E5, NF3, NC6, BC4, BC5, and B4. And if Brush, if you're still in chat, you should have recognized that instantly. Those are chess moves. So I didn't really know what that formation was. So I did pull it up. And I did actually do it here. So let's see. So if you're wondering what that player's name is, it looks exactly like this. This is the E4, the E5, the Knight F3, and this is ultimately what this player's name is. I have no idea what the name of this position is. It just seems off the top of my head that it's bad because you're leaving your pawn hanging right there. But this is what that player's screen name is in person. So there you go. That's in case you were wondering. I know several of you were. Now I will say this, as I'm hitting the wrong buttons right here. The last event that was Big House, which was a tournament for the O2ers. There's going to be a lot of people playing Smash that are going to get absolutely crushed on Friday, and then they just got the whole weekend to do nothing. Chess.com was there, and they did have chess setups. So I'm curious if there's going to be that for Genesis. That'll be a thing to keep up of. That's the only thing I have to say about the Thronglers. I couldn't find much other information about them. Splatanui is going to be playing in this event. I couldn't find any information about these guys. It seems like first timers. They got a player called Chocho Moko and Annie and Daviesness. I couldn't find any information about them whatsoever, and I don't think they're playing at any other events. So hopefully they pop off and they're like an actual DivX team and they crush everybody. And we got a whole bunch of new players to add to the scene in online tournaments. Born to Slider, forced to wipe. That's gross. What information did I have about this team? They have players. I mentioned SoCal's land that some players have been coming from. This tournament has players from SoCal land. It also has players who played in the Sunset Surge event, which I believe is the name of the Arizona local. So these guys have been traveling around all across the Southwest in order to find some competitive Splatoon action, this time going a little bit up north to San Jose to find ways to play in an actual big boy LAN event. Public Anemone. Now, you got some players here that are not playing in Street Fighter 6, but you also have some players that are here playing Ultimate and another one playing in Melee. So there's a lot of crossover stuff that's going on here with all these events. It's cool to see people sign up for multiple different video games to play in them. In the past, though, you've seen a lot of people drop out from Splatoon because, like, oh, wait, my Splatoon pool is at this time and my Smash pool is at this time. Like, I can't do them both at the same exact time. And like, I know the TOs will try to work with you to make it possible, but it's not like there's only so much you can do when there's that many game crossover. But we'll keep an eye on Public Anemone because they got a name worthy of it. This team's just called Chara. And you can't see the roster because of my name, but it's Chara, Storm, Hero, Caden, and Katora, I believe. The rest of the name cuts off right there. This team is going to be a contender. Surprise, surprise. I don't know if they're going to be seeded number one by the seeders, but this is going to be the team where it's like, okay, the podium is where you'll want to see them at some point. And it's good because Chara, I believe, is from California, at least played in California with the in the Proving Ground tournament. So this is it's good that we have a tournament in California for Chara and all the pro Chara-ites to come and celebrate that. And hopefully this team does pretty good and comes up with a better name other than just Chara, but so be it. Another contender right off the bat. And this is, I'm going to say this right now. This is the team I pick is going to win this tournament. I don't know what their seed is, but if you look at what In Control Red Sun has done the past two Riptides, the LTC last year, even though they didn't feel good about how they did at LTC last year, the door is opening up. The monsters are starting to clear out of their way to where this is the first time In Control Red Sun is going to be going into an event and you're going to be like, oh, we are the team that everyone's gunning for here. Like, it's not going to be a Cinderella run anymore. It's we win or bust. And I feel like that's the mentality they're going to be coming in here with. The extra player they have, Beam Shadows, Crimson Shadows, nice. And the extra player is Pika. I believe the Pika formerly of Cherry Limeade. So they got a solid roster going in here. But it's going to be a different mentality. However, they're the team that I'm going to pick to win this tournament because I feel like on paper they are the best team. Doesn't necessarily mean they're going to. Lost Hijinks is a combination of Lost Inklings along with some other competitive experienced players that play in this event. I don't really get this picture of a baby elephant jumping on I can't even tell what that is at this small of an angle, but Slug representing the Lost Inklings here. And there might be another Lost Inkling player on this roster going to be competing in this event, so Lost Hijinks. Vivid Sea. Rizza, Muty, Roomba, and Lux. This team is going to be a contender to win this tournament. They might be on the bottom side of the contender, but Rizza and Lux are extremely experienced in lands. They've been playing in a lot of these things. I'm assuming Muty has as well. I don't know about Roomba, But this is a roster that's going to be experienced and ready to take on some of these tougher teams that are in this tournament here. Now, Risa is also TOing this event. So if you're wondering if there's going to be some sort of like the fix is in, like, oh, wow, a TO playing in the event, there's some sort of cheating going on here. I got some news for you. People have been cheating in competitive Splatoon tournaments since the 70s. You guys just are a little bit too slow to catch up on it. So, yeah, of course Risa is going to cheat. We all know that. That's just how these things work. Pearl Essence, another actual competitive Splatoon team. Pearl Essence, make sure you guys find Brush and get a sticker from him. And maybe do so good in this tournament. Brush will give you one of those banned from low ink certificates as well. Yes, you can get banned from low ink based on your results of what you do in a LAN tournament. LAN tournaments are legit tournaments. These aren't gimmick things. We have banned teams in the past for what they did in low ink or what they do in LAN stuff. I don't think Pearl Essence is going to accomplish that, but they got an opportunity to do it right here. Blue Atlantic. That sounds familiar. It almost sounds like the exact opposite of Red Pacific. Well, it's a lot of Red Pacific, actually. In fact, I think it is mostly, if not 100%, Red Pacific. So Blue Atlantic right here, not using the Red Pacific name. Again, these guys just won low ink, and they're going to be coming into this one strong. I hesitate to put them down as a contender just because there's a lot of more teams that have been banned for low ink a lot longer than they have in this one, but they are definitely going to be the pesky team that you don't want to play and are going to be difficult for other teams to beat out. Assault and Pepper. These guys are a contender, especially that they got Jeff on their roster. Jeff is insanely good and one of the most underrated players in the competitive Splatoon community. But you combine him with Soren Cheeto and another TO who isn't TOing this event specifically, but Siren, who can probably manipulate their way into cheating somehow if they thought about it long enough. I'm pretty sure Assault and Pepper holds the... No, not the Sploosh Jeff. This is a completely different Jeff. Regardless, Assault and Pepper has to hold the record for most LAN tournaments played in as a team. A2P has been playing in a lot of tournaments in the LAN stage. I almost want to say A2P played in a Smash and Splash. Someone correct me if I'm wrong about that. But one of the best, now it's not the same roster they've had for every single one. But, and no, it is not Jeff from Enrage. That's a completely different Jeff. I would be shocked if this Jeff used the Sploosh. This team doesn't have a name. It's just the players put together. Team Lively Sprouts is what we're going with here. And this is the one team I didn't put any notes on. I couldn't find much information about these guys, and none of their names really popped out to me. So my apologies to Team Lively Sprouts. But, Cuss, I hate you. Unless I don't. I'm talking about you in a second, don't I? Splat at UCD Fruit Salad. I am genuinely surprised we don't see more college teams at this event. Low Tide City was loaded to the brim with college teams. And there are a lot of college teams out in California. But as far as like name brand college teams are concerned, UCD, University of California, forget what the D stands for off the top of my head. That's a joke. But still, I would assume there would be more college representation than what we have right here. But UCD Fruit Salad seems to be the team carrying the torch right now. Hot and Cold, Latios, Chase, 247, K, and Locke. Latios and Chase used to play together a long time ago. Not that long ago, but on a team called Optimum. And now are coming back together to play in this event. Is Chase and K going to use Dapples together, or is Chase going to use like Tetras and K is going to use Dapples? That is going to be a very frustrating comp to go up against with Locke, who is one of the best chargers that I've played against. I don't know if Locke still uses chargers or not, but I guess somebody's got to use Pencil. Hot and Cold is going to be a contender just based off the fact that they're probably going to throw things with Chase and K at you that you're not used to seeing. And K, I've talked about K many times in the past. Just because you use Dapples doesn't mean you know how to really use Dapples. K has been using that weapons for so long. They know how to use dapples. It's going to be frustrating for other teams to play against it, especially on land. Capsize Starboard, the team we're looking at right here. And I believe their name changed. When I looked them up this morning, they were just the names that they had on their roster right there. Sprocket has played in 3 Genesis in a row, all with Splatoon related stuff. So that's the information I could find on this team. Is that the Newt that's the and also, it just says Corn. I know Cornflower is going, but I didn't know if Corn was playing in this as like Corn or actually just like spectating or something or whatever. But is that the Newt that's like the ballpoint player is playing in that one? Maybe no, maybe not. But still, that Sprocket player has been doing the last 3 Genesis as a Smash player. Again, coming over, translating over to the Splatoon side. Cornflower is just a spectator. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Humble Magic, Bronze, Umbre, Kite, and Solveless. Watch out for if you guys have never talked to or had an interaction with Bronze before. Bronze is a character, and Bronze has been to literally every single LAN since like ever. I can't think of a LAN where Bronze hasn't been to in the past 4 years or so. There was a moment where my friends were playing Bronze teams a couple of Riptides ago, and Bronze's team couldn't KO them. Like the tower was stuck like right before they could get to the KO, and that team was just being pesky and just couldn't get across. So Bronze takes off their headset, looks back at their opponent, and says, "Just let us KO you, damn it!" And it was like, what? So Bronze is a silly goose. And you guys are in for a treat if you've never ran into Bronze before. I like Bronze. Bronze has got a nice, funny sense of humor. Don't like playing against them, though, because they're tough. OU4. Nothing about these guys. Absolutely nothing. But they have the logo here. You can't see it. It's a little too small in stream. But it's a logo of a squid octopus in space. So I don't know who these guys are, if they've even played competitive Splatoon. But they get it. Splatoon is all about space-themed stuff for some oddball reason, either about space or the planets or stars or comets or supernovas or whatever. So putting a squid in space, they get it. They understand what's going on in the competitive Splatoon scene because people are all about space for some reason. The Variety Squad. This is a complete nonsense mystery team to me because they really are a variety. You got some players who I could find absolutely no information about. A player called 123 Video Gamer. That has to be like just like a casual player. But it's also got Cannon on it, Kanan, who played for Splatter Swim and just won High Ink 3. Very convincingly won High Ink 3. So I don't know what to expect from this team. They're either a contender or a team that is just here for playing for fun. No idea. Regardless, it's a team I don't want to mess with if I was playing. And now, I'm pretty sure this team name changed their name as well. I think it was just like 5th Gen, Storm, Gus, and Lunazuka at the beginning of the day. But now they are the Z tier players. I'm telling you right now, these guys, I don't know what they're seeded, but I guarantee you they're going to do better than what their seed is. I'm going to say this team makes top 2. I think these guys are going to be playing in grand finals. I really do think that. Not because I think like they should be seeded higher than other players, but these are players that are the definition of hunters. Terms I've been using on this podcast for a long time. Teams that really don't give a damn who they're going up against. It isn't going to be intimidated by anybody. And there's not really anyone here for them to be intimidated by. Yeah, Red Sun is going to be the on paper stronger team, but Z tier players isn't really going to care. They're not going to be, oh crap, that's Pro Charo on the other side with Storm Hero. They're not going to be worried about that. I think these guys are going to be underseeded and are going to make podium top 2 of this tournament. Book it. It's going to happen. Flashpoint 5 exclamation points. This team is made up of a couple of players that what did I write here? I don't even know what I wrote down here. Oh, I know what I wrote down. It says So Azu here has been playing, and I believe Flowers as well. You can't see their name back here. Has been playing in SOS to warm up for this event, and the team name they've been playing for is Wait I'm Goated, and I just put that right down without any context on my own notes, so I confused myself. So these are actual competitive players that have been playing and kind of grinding up for this event. So that's some exciting stuff to see out of Flash 5, even though I don't get what their low flash point is what their logo says right there. 6 more teams to know. This Mickey Mart team, they changed their name. There has to be, like Magic or Hammer has to have been like, hey, you guys need to come up with a name, and we're going to put a name in there for you today, because these things were not up. Like, some of these teams just not have names like an hour ago. Mickey Mart, I guess, is the name of this team. Lynn, Pepe, Arito, and Pincher are going to be on this team. This team has to be a contender. It has to be with a roster like that, especially Lynn at a LAN is usually Lynn Sanity. Just destroying people last Riptide and on a really good roster here of some players. Arito, I believe, was on a team that almost knocked off Moonlight in Proving Grounds yesterday. So this is going to be a solid team. Definitely a contender to win the tournament. Are they going to win it? No, but they're going to be like one of those top 6, top 5 teams with the roster that they have alone. Moonvale. And this is where things get really crazy. With Moonvale, I looked at one of their players. One of their players is signed up at Genesis for Rivals of Aether, Melee, Street Fighter 6, and Splatoon. There is no way. There is absolutely no way you can play in 4 events. It's damn near impossible for TOs to work around you playing in one other like Smash event to make sure you have time to do both. There's no way you can play in 4 different events at Genesis. It's absolutely impossible unless you're doing the Hermione Granger nonsense from the 3rd Harry Potter book. We'll keep an eye on that though. Moonvale trying to do the Genesis sweep across the board. The Whip Rays. And just a little bit of a side note, I've had this in the back of my mind for a while, but it just really clicked with me today. The Whip Rays logo, and I'm the only one who probably sees this, the Whip Rays logo looks like the Arby's logo to me, like the really tall top hat. Like, that's the first thing I see when I look at their logo. And the more you look at it, it's like, okay, that looks absolutely nothing like the Arby's logo. But I guess just at like a passing glance, I just think of Arby's when I see these guys. The Whip Rays played at Low Tide City and Riptide. They're trying to become the next A2P and go coast to coast, playing all the tournaments imaginable. So it's good to see the Whip Rays continue to find ways to get to these events and have a good time. I see the heart, Sofa King. I'll see you at Low Tide City, I'm assuming. Hopefully so. I'll be there for that. Boops. Ultra Yeets, ZYF, Fusion, and Glitched Cactus. This team is going to be in that frustrating category. I believe that is ZYF from Healthy Diet Food Groups, correct? And Glitch Cactus currently of Secret Elixir. Fusion of Take Your Meds. Was that the last team Fusion was on? And Ultra Yeets from the Idiots in Chat. Yes, definitely when you have 4 players that actually play competitive Splatoon, it helps a lot in an event like this, especially when there's a lot of people just coming over from the Smash side. So Boop should be doing good, and they got a lot of experience to where they're going to be a tough team for a lot of people to roll to contend with. 6-Pack Yolks. These guys last played in Low Inc. in August. This is an actual competitive Splatoon team. I don't know if their roster matches 100% to the 6-Pack Yolks team. I think they're Div 10 in the last Ludi season. So 6-Pack Yolks. Be look out for that. Oh, they got a sad little logo. They got a squid that's stuck in like those little 6-pack soda cans, like you see like the little turtles that are stuck. That's, man, there's some sad thing there. Throw away your trash, guys. Don't let it end up in the ocean there. You don't want to choke out these squids. Last but certainly not least are the Booty Short Pirates. Juice Knox, Garrett Toes, and Tux. If you rub your eyes and look back at that Booty Pirates team, isn't that up the ante? That's up the ante, isn't it? Well, I guess kind of. So Tux is representing the the Thimble IHOP Wiggly Phantom nonsense that Tux is going to be going up there. I think I've seen Tux at every major event. Has Tux been to Low Tide City? I feel like they have. I know they were at Riptide. I've met them there before. But Booty Short Pirates are going to be representing the final and 30th team at Genesis. So just to recap, if you want to know what my top 3 teams are, not from the seeding, but just where I think teams are going to finish, number 1 is going to be Red Sun. Number 2 is going to be the 5th Gen Storm, Lunazuka, and Gus team. And the 3rd place is going to be the Chara team. I think that is what's going to happen. I have no idea what the actual seeding for that is, but that's my gut feeling. But again, it's not about winning the tournament unless you're those 3 teams. For everyone else, just meet people. Brush is going to be out there handing out stickers and low ink band certificates. It's just going to be a fun time. You are going to have fun, and if you don't, I would wager you set out not to have fun. So that's kind of on you, isn't it? We will be recapping Genesis and try to find somebody to talk to who's actually going there. We like to talk to Pat for the EU stuff. We had Falco on live at Riptide. Talked to Glitch Cactus about Metro Inc. We'll try to find somebody to talk to who's going to Genesis on Monday's episode of the Popcast. Until then, enjoy the weekend. Make sure you watch it if you're not going. Like myself, it should be a good event. No idea who's commentating it, but I'm sure that info will be presented later. Meantime, you'd like to be a part of the podcast anyway, feel free to reach out my socials below. Twitter, Mr_Popgun, Discord, Popgun, and Blue Sky Popgun as well. Just Popgun in general. Don't forget your vaccination cards. I think those things might still be required. Wear an N95 mask, like one that actually straps to your face. It'll help you if you got to hold on to those things for a long amount of time. And don't die. Key point right there. Clutch. Do not die.